Welcome back. A new year, a new decision. The Supreme Court says it will take up the issue of same-sex marriage. The justices will hear the cases in April, and they will ponder two questions. One is whether the Constitution requires states to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples, and the other, whether states must recognize same-sex marriages performed elsewhere. Right now, 14 states, including Texas, do not allow same-sex couples to marry. But if the court rules in favor, same-sex couples nationwide will have a right to marry. So should the Supreme Court have a say, or should the decision be left up to each individual state? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you. You can weigh in on our Fox 26 Facebook page or on Twitter. Use the hashtag Fox26for Life. Joining us live in the newsroom is our Roundup panel again, and it's led by our Fox 26 senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico. Chris, good morning again.
Morning.
So this could really be a landmark decision. I mean, this is going to settle it once and for all.
Well, the Supreme Court passed 2 years ago when the California case and the federal Defense of Marriage Act was up. As you'll recall, they struck down the federal Defense of Marriage Act and let stand the California law as it was. And that decision in California, in my view, was just the Supreme Court saying we're not ready to answer this final question. The Supreme Court doesn't jump into things lightly, and they wait until there is a reason for them to settle something. Now we have a split in the federal courts of appeal on the issue, and that's why they're stepping in. And with 38 states having had gay marriage approved, I think it's time for the Supreme Court to jump in. At a minimum, the Supreme Court, I think, is going to strike down that part of it that states are refusing to follow the full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution. But I think they're ready to say gay marriage is now the law of the land. We'll see what happens. Let me introduce Mustafa Tamiz, our political analyst, Jackie Bally, public policy analyst. You know, they passed on this a year or 2 years ago. I can't remember now. It's been so long. But I think that with 38 states having had it approved, the Supreme Court's ready to say this is going to be it.
Well, and this has been moving quickly. In the last 3 years, the most progress has been made. I heard one of the commenters talk about that. The
fastest civil rights movement in history.
Yeah, gays have been fighting in the military, looking for marriage. So these institutional changes, these shifts have been pretty big. And the Supreme Court, I guess the persons to watch is not just Justice Kennedy, but also Chief Justice, because right. Chief Justice Roberts is big on Constitution. So this is going to have to be his call for the most part.
Well, and Chief Justice Roberts was the one who saved Obamacare.
Well, I think that there's some people that say that they may vote for this, and then this may be a way to vote against the Obamacare. But I don't buy into that.
Yesterday, Jackie Bally, I read two commentaries, and several gay rights leaders are saying this is the biggest civil rights issue in 50 years. Do you agree with that?
I think the gay community definitely believes that. And, you know, I need to stop predicting when laws are going to be brought, because we thought marijuana wasn't going to be brought up, and now, I mean, I thought this was probably going to come up next year or the year after. And the trend
and you lost a bet on that.
Yeah, I know. I lost a bet. So the trend that's going this way, it's moving up pretty quickly. Of course, the leaders in Texas are hoping that the Supreme Court stays out of it and they allow the states to implement their own laws and policies, because 76% of their voters said this is how we define a marriage, which is not the way that is not gay marriage.
Not the way it's going.
So, but I really think that they're going to look at it quickly, and I think they're going to overturn it.
All right, let's go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Okay, let's take a look at one of the tweets coming in. This is from Equality Texas. And this person, they say, we believe that the Fifth Circuit should still answer this question independently in the affirmative. Is that something that's going to happen? Are we going to see the Fifth Circuit answer before the Supreme Court? And how much of that opinion will weigh into the Supreme Court's decision?
Let me answer the second question first. I don't think it'll have any impact, because the Supreme Court's going to be looking at the overall law. And because I don't think that the Fifth Circuit opinion at this point will matter, because the split in the circuits is Ohio and the rest of the circuits. And so I don't think the Fifth Circuit matters at this point and what their opinion ultimately is. And that's why I think the Fifth Circuit will just sit back and wait. Why issue an opinion that might immediately be overturned? I don't know why they would do that. I don't see the Fifth Circuit weighing in at all at this point, Mustafa.
Yeah, and then Supreme Court's kind of narrowed the field. They're looking at 4 specific states, so they're not looking at everything. They look and they're looking at the 14th Amendment and see how it affects states' rights. And so they're already defined the terms in which they're going to look at the case. They've already asked for the arguments by both sides that they want to hear.
There's an issue here, Jackie Bally, that we kind of gloss over a lot that I think is very important, and that's states like Texas who passed a law that said we will not recognize these laws from other states, and that's in direct violation of the full faith and credit clause of the United States Constitution. I think the Supreme Court has to say the Constitution means what it says.
Well, the only way that Texas will actually uphold anything like this is if the Supreme Court does that, because like we've been saying, we definitely believe in states' rights, and the fact that we took a referendum to the voters and the voters approved it overwhelmingly, that our leaders are going to consistently say, this is our state and these are the laws in our state, and other states aren't going to tell us what to do. So if the Supreme Court, if that's going to change in Texas, the Supreme Court has to say what we've done is illegal.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. We'll be back next week wrapping up the hottest stories of the week.